the magnificence that the Lord is going to bring us back to, you know. And this is something that we have to envision, because we're going to be brought back to greatness, because our is going to be set back up and people are going to laud and praise him. His Messiah, YAHAWASHI, is going to be lauded and praised. So the men of the Lord that are lauded and praised are going to have those laws, statutes, and commandments inside them to be able to reestablish righteousness on the earth. And then the nations will be in awe once again, and even in more awe, because of the magnificence. The awe that the Queen of Sheba was in, that's going to pale in comparison to the awe of the kingdom. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. You know, the Queen of Sheba, she had no life left in her when she saw the splendor of King Solomon's majesty and his kingdom, his servants, how they were arrayed and everything. So just imagine the kingdom of heaven. You know, these nations are going to go back to that. They're going to go back to reverencing us, you know, not looking at us as niggas and spicks and spooks and wetbacks and tontos and all that, but looking at us in our respective state of being an Israelite, no man or woman, you know, of our particular tribe, whether it be Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Simeon, whatever. You know, it's going to go back to that. It's going to go back to the majestic lauding of YAHAWASHI and the people of Israel, which are the Israelites, the so-called the Native Americans that are downtrodden, that have been outcast, that have been called the forsaken, are going to get back that power, are going to get back that vigor, are going to get back that status of greatness that we had at one time. It says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. And we're witnessing the beginning of that, of us being established. But this is speaking about in the kingdom. It says, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. So we're going to be exalted above all of the hills, meaning all of these other nations and their governments. Because out of every nation and government on the planet that ever ruled an empire and the great civilizations that ever ruled, that's going to be nothing compared to the kingdom of heaven, compared to the law, statutes, and commandments in the kingdom of heaven, compared to the majesty of the kingdom. Because it's not just only going to be on the planet Earth, it's going to be in a different planets all over the universe. It says, and all nations shall flow into it. And why are all these nations going to flow into it? Because they are waiting for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High to be established once again on the planet. Because they know that once that happens, things are going to be set back up into the right order. It says, and many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways. Because 144,000, the governing body, will be bringing out the word and the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, setting up everything into order. This is for that, this is for this is for that. And according to them, boom, boom, you know, so on and so forth. So they're going to come to learn, because we're not going to teach each other, because we're going to be perfected. Our stony hearts are going to be taken out. Fleshly heart is going to be put in. Law, statutes, and commandments are going to be put in after these vile bodies are changed. So the nations are going to see that. They're going to see that splendor, and they're going to come to it, and they're going to want to learn. It says, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. So that's what we're going to be teaching them. We're going to be teaching these nations the law, statutes, and commandments through the governing body of the nation of Israel.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, YAHAWASHI, Bahashem, Rakapadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the LGMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessed salutation to the hopeful leg out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful leg, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And what I want to get into this morning, man, just a documentary I was looking at the Akkadian Empire, which is an empire that came, after, the ancient Babylonian Empire of Nimrod. Then you had Sumer, and then you had what you call the Akkadian Empire. Sumer, that's where you get the Samaritans from. A lot of the first records discovered, came from this empire of Samaria, all right, Sumer. But then after that, you had the Akkadian Empire, and pretty much, there was some things going on, within the rulership of these ancient empires, that's going on now, and I just thought it'd be interesting for us to go into these things and get some understanding, okay, just how ruler ancient rulership was and how our rulership is going to be, because at the end of the day, when you really start to get a deeper understanding of the scriptures, you have to understand rulership. A lot of people are offended at the Bible, because they don't understand rulership. Okay, a lot of people are offended that Yahweh Shema Shai is only dealing with one nation because they don't understand rulership. A lot of people are offended at multiple women because they don't understand rulership. Okay, a lot of offenses and discrepancy with the Bible, okay, is because people don't understand rulership, and we didn't grow up understanding these things. We learned, okay, in the truth, man, and as we study the Bible, we get a deeper understanding of what this thing is about. Now I'm queuing this video up, and I'll be excited, about topics like this, man. War and rulership. That's pretty much my thing, just that war and rulership, man. And I hope it, come out on camera, like it is in my head, like the spirit gave it to me, man. Bob Quatawab, to all you Akim, Watium, tuning in, man. Y'all good this morning, Everybody good, man. Y'all ready to talk about this rulership, But young, you good? You on deck, and if that nigga pop up in his feelings, clean, light, linen, whatever his name is, block that nigga immediately, man. We ain't dealing with that nigga this morning, man. we talking king talk this morning, man. You know that nigga get up early, okay. But yeah, man, let's get it, man. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play. It's two parts in the documentary I want to play, and we're gonna get some precepts to pretty much, expound on it, and yeah, we're gonna get some precepts to expound on it. Lord will, you brothers, you sisters, are edified. Now, so let me cue it up real quick. Yeah, we'll start right there. Now, like I say, this is pretty much, you have this, figure in history named Sargon, and they look at him as pretty much, as a one of the first great kings, of society. All right, his name is Sargon. If you just want to do some individual research on him, but it's pretty much you know talk about him a little bit, but the main focus is about what was going on at this time and how you even had elitists back then. You know, there's nothing new on the sun. Matter of fact, my brother posted a precept, Ecclesiastes 1, I think in 9. There's no new thing under the sun. Okay, and I'm gonna cue this up. Why brother do that? All right, this is the brother Yashima tribe of Judah. It says, the thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done, it said, is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Okay, there's no new thing under the sun, which is in the earth, man. So as we watch these little clips, man, we're going to see that we're just seeing a more modern version of things that was already going on, man. You know, um, so yeah. Okay. Hey, brother, I told you about that the other day, brother. You guys spell out the names, man. If you're gonna give praises, spell out the name of the Father and the Son. That's the only way to give praises, man. We don't do that, this acronym, all praises to the Most High, man. Okay? We don't do that. If you're gonna give praises, say the Father name, give them that much reverence, man. Where you can spell the name of the Father and the name of the Son, you know. Mm.
In the span of barely a millennium, the Sumerians had established mankind's first real urban centres. With towering walls and religious sanctuaries known as ziggurats, the skyscrapers of their day. Building arguably the world's most advanced civilization. In a landscape entirely devoid of natural resources, the Sumerians radically improved farming and irrigation techniques, resulting in larger surpluses of grain and an increase in the overall food supply. Ultimately, allowing many within their society to put down their ploughs and pursue other endeavours, such as advanced mathematical and scientific knowledge. Perhaps the most famous of all Sumerian inventions, though, was the development of a complex system of writing.
So real quick, what you see is, once a society, established system of farming and agriculture, that pretty much creates a first world society where they have systems put in place for farming and agriculture, where the whole society doesn't have to focus on farming and agriculture, okay? Because there's a system put in place now. So now they can devote a certain sector of society, to control, the agriculture systems. And then you have other sects that would be able to study, into science and engineering and particular things, and that's where you get, pretty much the foundation of a first world country like in America. Okay, there's already so many systems put in place of farming, agriculture, plumbing, electricity. See, all these things are already put in place. That's why you can send people to college, and people can start learning other things about inventions, and coming up with new technology, because the agriculture aspect of society is secured. It's a running system now. But if you didn't have that system, everyone would be, bowled up, trying to farm and till the land to live. But once you got that process secured, then that's when you get, the foundation of first world society. Okay, and this is what we're seeing in Sumer, and you see them ziggurats, what they call ziggurats. Those are the ancient skyscrapers. Okay, and there's also what some scholars say that Nimrod was trying to build, in the Tower of Babel. He was trying to build a huge ziggurat, you know, to try to reach to the heavens, man. So these skyscrapers and things that we see, these are nothing new. You know, they've been here of old. These little rooftop spots, you know, because the rooftop, these little rooftop spots cool to go to, all right. But this is nothing new, you know. Just putting that out there, man, and just to try to give you brothers and sisters time frame. You had Nimrod, the Babylonian Empire. They date that back to like 3500 um BC. Then you had Abraham. Scholars say he was born between the times of 2100 BC and 1800 BC. Now this guy Sargon, they date him pretty much like 200 or 300 years, give or take, before Abraham. Okay, because this Mesopotamia area, when you look at the Syrian Empire, you look at the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, is pretty much the same area, just different lands, give and take. But it's just what they call a fertile crescent. Okay, the land of the fertile land, and you had different nations that will rule over that. Okay, so that Mesopotamian area, was always the pretty much the focal point of those ancient dynasties, in the east, was the Mesopotamian area. Okay, now I'm let it play on. Uh,
First used for bookkeeping, and then later on to record their own history. All of these innovations helped to lay the foundation for some of the most powerful and wealthy city-states the world had ever seen, whose rulers presided over small but significant kingdoms. Within just a few centuries of Queen Puabi, however, by the 24th century BC, this prosperity was already coming to an end. From its very beginnings, civilization has been incredibly elitist. Far from everyone benefiting from the splendor of the first cities. In fact, most people didn't at all. And by around 2400 BC, the world of ancient Sumer came to a breaking point. Texts uncovered from Sumerian city-states, such as Lagash, indicate that there was a massive chasm between the wealthy, often hailing from the hereditary priestly class, and the impoverished common people. Most of the latter being so mired in debt they had to sell their own children into slavery in an effort to pay it off. Though not as well documented, it's believed that similar circumstances are prevalent in the other city-states too. Sometime between the years 2350 and 2340 BC, though scholars debate the exact date, a new type of ruler became king of the city-state of Umma.
Okay, so now let's deal, okay, with this point here. Now, he's pretty much saying how, you know, back then, even though the empire enjoyed wealth, okay, their wealth was concentrated amongst those elite families. Okay, does that sound familiar today? Okay, you had elite family that was pretty much reaping in the majority of the wealth while the masses were impoverished in the rat race. You see, and there's no new thing under the sun, man. And these elites, they know this, man. A lot of these techniques and things they got, they have this ancient knowledge, all right, these ancient records of how, you know, these elite families were ruling back then. Okay. And that's what you see today, because when you understand, in today's time, 85% of the world's wealth goes to 1% of the population of the earth, which are those elitists, those lower luminaries. Okay. While the rest of the 15%, okay, the rest of the 15% of the wealth is distributed out to 99% of the population. That's why it's such a rat race. Okay, because that 1%, okay, sucks in 85% of the world's wealth, while they put out the other 15% of the wealth to the 99%. And that's why it's such a rat race, man. And you brothers and sisters, you seen a great example of that during the time when they did the lockdowns, how you had new trillionaires being made. Okay, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Okay, here it is. People was losing businesses, jobs, behind on mortgage and rent, but you have 3 or 4 men becoming trillionaires. You see that? And that's wicked, man. That's off. And we're gonna show you in the scriptures how that's off. And see, what you brothers have to understand, YAHAWASHI is teaching us to be righteous rulers. Okay? YAHAWASHI was pushing us to be righteous rulers. That's why he was always cussing out the scribes and Pharisees, because them niggas was wicked, man. Now, let's get into the scriptures. All right, now when you go to Proverbs 22:7, and this is pretty much how Esau Edom rules, man. You know, but he's not the first to do so. All right, the mother heathens was in the same spirit. It said the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay, and this whole society is based on keeping the masses of people in debt, to the point now Esau Edom. Okay, these are leaders of Esau Edom. They have nations in debt. Okay, go into the, you brothers and sisters, go into the IMF. Find you a quick, video talking about the IMF, the international, you know, IMF. Damn, what it stand for? I forgot. Shit, my brother put it up, man. I ain't looked it up in a while, but it's pretty much the system that the bankers use to give loans to these nations, and put these nations in debt because they give them such a big loan with crazy interest and they can't pay it back. So what happens is the government will start recouping, their debt through the resources, and eventually they have rulership over the people. Okay, because the most valuable resource is humans. All right, human resources, man, and the elites. That's how they do. Okay, so the rich ruler over the poor, and the borrower is servant, all right, to the lender. And that's how this man rules the earth, man. Okay, keeping people impoverished while enriching himself. Okay, even when you go to what's that book of James? All right, 5. He's cussing these people out, man. Yeah, International Monetary Fund. Yep. The water, brother. Yep, the IMF, man. And the borrower, because these nations are borrowing from the IMF. So what? These nations become servants. Okay? The borrower is servant to the lender, man. Now, when you go to James 5:1, what did it say? Misuse of riches. It says, "Go to now, ye rich man, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten." Yeah, because you understand these elite families have been, you know, in this position for so long, okay, where they could just keep coming back to this wealth and increasing, okay, but further enslaving and oppressing the masses, man, and especially Jake, okay. So this man riches are corrupted because this man is ruling in a very oppressive way, and it's unbalanced. Now, the apostle said the other day how back in the 60s and 70s that for every dollar that the employee made, the CEO will make $25. You know, it was it was a balanced portion. But now in today, for every dollar that the employee makes, the CEO makes $25,000. Okay, that's corrupt, man. You see, verse 5, it says, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days." Okay, so this man's crazy wealth that he has is a witness against him. When you look at the poverty of the earth, but then you look at the insane wealth of these few men, that's gonna be a witness against their unfairness, man. Okay, their corruption. He said, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered to the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth." And that's how you know it's Israelites. Okay, that's how you know it's talking about Israelites. Okay, because the YAHAWASHI is only concerned about the cries of Israel. Let's prove that. Let's get Exodus, because it's the same thing. Because ancient Pharaoh, he became crazy rich, okay, off of Jake. You see, off our labor. This is Exodus 6:5, and says, "I have also heard the groanings of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage." You see how spiritual this is, man? And we're a spiritual Egypt now. "And I have remembered my covenant." It says, "Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord, YAHAWASHI. I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm, which is YAHAWASHI, and with great judgments." Okay? And this is what we're finna witness, man. But first, our mind had to be free, you know, from the mind frame of a damn spiritual Egyptian today, man. It's American culture, man. Our mind has been freed from that. Then we're going to be physically free, okay? And he's going to bring slaves, all right? Because right now we're captive slaves. He's going to bring slaves out of captivity and make them rulers, man. When they say the head shall be the tail, okay, and the tail shall be the head, that's literal, okay. YAHAWASHI doing a mighty work in the earth, man. I say, and if a nigga ain't talking about YAHAWASHI, he ain't talking about nothing, man. What could he be possibly talking about? You seen Shaka, okay? Shaka Osmos through, okay? Sinetta had to, come on, come hold him back, all right? Through. This is Exodus 6 and 7 says, and I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a power, and you shall know that I am the Lord your power, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, man. And we finna be brought from under these burdens, man. And that's the day we should be hasting, man. You know, for the elect, those that sincerely are dedicated to YAHAWASHI, man. We should be praying today that those Israelites are free, man. Our people are free, man, from under the burden of this, man. Okay, it's bigger than us, man. All right, we need this whole system torn down. All right, for the sake, all right, of the elect of Israel, man. You know. Now, let's go back to James. All right, this is the book of James, chapter 5, and verse 4 said, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entering to the ears of the Lord, all right, of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton, which is undisciplined. You have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you, man. So these charges are against these elitists, man, who have made themselves rich, okay, off of what, man? Oppression, you know? See, there's nothing wrong with getting rich, man, but the way you do it, okay, can be a charge against you, man. Okay, and they get rich off of what, man? Oppression, man. You see? That's why that's why everybody is so, you look at the earth, it's so low energy now because everybody's beat down. Like he where your mind, our minds are worn out, constantly thinking about bills and then you get a new child, you do that fake smile, but then you be like, shit, yeah, baby, yeah, we did it. Then you be like, shit, you know? You try to factor that to the equation, man. This is horrible, man. All right? But that's why we finna have a rulership of abundance, man. It's coming to the earth. So let's go from there and see YAHAWASHI was teaching the disciples, because you had two disciples come to him and ask about rulership, and he was breaking it down to him because I say everybody wants status and clout, for the perks. Where they see this YAHAWASHI, he was trying to see that's another thing, Jake so trying to force the law down your throat, but then Jake don't know how to be a leader. Okay, YAHAWASHI came to mold Israelite men into leaders. Okay, now our desire is to keep the law, and in the kingdom we're going to enforce the law. It's going to be within us, man. But YAHAWASHI was molding leaders. Okay, he was giving the disciples a different perspective on how to look at things, man. Okay, now Matter of fact, I'm gonna read. I started at 28, you know. Um, yeah, this is Mark 10 and 28. It said, Then Peter began to say unto him, Lo, we have left all and have followed thee. And Yahushua answered and said, Verily I say unto you, there is no man that have left house or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or land for my sake and the gospels. You see that? But he shall receive an hundredfold now in this time houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands, all right, with persecutions, and then the world to come, eternal life. Okay, but many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So Yahushua is trying to give. He was trying to push a mindset of abundance because they was worried about these little possessions that they had now. Like we left all, but hell, we ain't got much, man. Okay, it's like we left all. So Yahushua put it back on them and like, look, you're gonna receive a hundredfold, and a hundredfold is multiplication. That means it's gonna keep multiplying, man. It's gonna keep multiplying. Okay, so Yahushua was telling them, look, man, you gonna have abundance, man. You worry about these, look, because pretty much we just all got our slave package right now. A little job, some brothers got a woman, car, whatever, little things we got, some incense, and some, a few stone, a bracelet, chain, a necklace or two. You see? But in the kingdom, we're gonna have storehouses of the things, that we desire, man. You like Apostle Gabar say, you're gonna have acres of wise, man. You see? So Yahushua was pushing a mind frame of abundance because this captivity has pretty much put us in the mind frame of what scarcity. That's why Jake be going out there wits for women because they look at things as a scarcity, man. This is Mark 10 and 22, 10 and 32. It says, and they were in the way going up to Jerusalem, and Yahushua went before them, and they were amazed. And as they followed, they were afraid. And he took again the 12 and began to tell them things, all right, that should happen, saying, Behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man, now I'm gonna skip that. Going to the crucifix. Okay, this is the point. Verse 35. It says, And James and John, the son of Zebedee, came unto him, saying, Master, we would that thou shouldest do for us whatsoever we shall desire. And he said to them, What would ye that I should do for you? In verse 37, it says, They said unto him, Grant unto us that we may sit one on thy right hand and on and the other on thy left hand in thy glory. But Yahushua said unto them, Ye know not what ye ask. Can you drink of the cup that I drink of, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? So Yahushua was like, okay, now you want this rank and status, but it's a path to that. You see, it's a path to that now. So Yahushua said, You want to drink of that cup, man? And they said unto him, We can. And Yahushua said unto them, Ye shall indeed drink of the cup that I drink of, and with the baptism that I am baptized withal shall ye be baptized. But to sit at my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them on whom it's prepared. Yeah, because hey, everybody's rank is, hey, everybody's rank is already in order, man. Every man is his own order. Verse 41, it says, And when the 10 heard it, they began to be much displeased with James and John. Yeah, they were mad. Like, they trying to jock for a position. So Yahushua, was hearing, that they disgruntled. So he's going to go into it. Okay. This is Mark 10 and 42. It says, But Yahushua called to them. All right. But Yahushua called them to him and said unto them, Ye know that they which are accounted, all right, to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them. Okay, and their great ones exercise authority upon them. Okay, so Yahawashi, look, man, y'all acting like the Gentiles, man, who be so worried about rank and authority, okay? That lordship, being a tyrant, man, you know, as if the people was just created for you to have your way with. No, man. So Yahawashi is molding them into righteous leaders, man. Don't be like the Gentiles, because those Akkadians pretty much go back to those Assyrians. All right, which Esau Edom is likened to the modern Assyrian as well, man. But they exercise lordship, you know, where only a few benefited off, okay, the resources, and the rest, you know, they was impoverished, man. And it says, but it shall not be among you, but whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister, okay, shall be your minister, which means what? A servant. And what does that mean? That means that the who's ever, okay, matter of fact, let me read verse 44. And you see it's spirituals at Mark 10 and 44. So you see at 144, man. And pretty much this is the mind of the elect that we should have. It says, and whomsoever of you will be the chiefest shall be servant of all. Okay? What does that mean? The men that are going to have the rank and status, okay, they have to be the ones making the benefits and sacrifice that's gonna they're gonna be the ones that's gonna have to make, you know, the sacrifice, you know, and they're gonna be the ones that are gonna have to make decisions that's gonna benefit everyone. Okay? When you look at King David, he was on the front line. Okay? He was on the front line, even when he was king, you know? and he was a leader, but he was serving the people. Yeah. When he got back to the palace, he had his perks and different things, but he was still risking his life to what? Secure the people. It likened him into a shepherd. Just like um a shepherd will risk his life for the sheep. Now he will benefit off the sheep, whether he can make clothing off the sheep. You know, he will be able to slaughter, you know, one of his sheep for food. You know, but before all that, he had to be a protector and a servant unto the sheep. Yeah, he's a leader; they follow him, but he's serving them. Like David was actually like, you know, he was like a wall for Israel from these other nations. He was a king, but you know, he was a servant as well. You see, and that's the mind frame that Yahawashi was pushing. And see, Yahawashi can say that because as Solomon, he did that, man. And let's get these examples, man. Because as Solomon, he did that. Okay. When you go to First King. Yep. Um, and you go to First King chapter 4. All right, it's First Kings 4 and 20. It said Judah and Israel were many. It's the sand which is by the sea. Matter of fact, it started at 3. Okay. You go to it a lot, but repetition, drive things home. Now this is Solomon's 3. And all right, this First King 3 and 4 says, and the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for there was For that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offering did Solomon offer upon that altar. And Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And the Most High said, ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said, thou hast showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness of heart with thee, and thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. And now, O Lord, my power, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child, and I know not how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great people? So Solomon had a mind frame, of he understood that he needed understanding above everything, and he asked on something for himself that would benefit the nation. Okay, when Jacob supplanted Esau, Jacob was thinking about the nation. He pulled that move. He did that for the nation. You see that? So we can be the children of promise. you know, when you got even our forefathers of this time, man. You look at, Elder Abba Bivens, King Masha, High Priest Ariah, you know, Elder Yaquab, Yaaquab. Those men were laboring and toiling for our benefit. They will have great rank in the kingdom. When they was on earth, what was they doing? Even in their old age, man. Okay, you see those men out there teaching and speaking, they was doing this for our benefit. They was serving us. Okay, because they was taught that back in the day by who? YAHAWASHI. Those same spirits coming back. They was washing our feet. You see? Those men washed our feet. And what is your feet going to your walk? Okay? And the walk goes in the ancient Hebrew is what? Your manner of life, man. Come on, man. This is a beautiful thing we're a part of, man. This is much bigger than nigga culture, man. That's why to the point now, okay. All right, Jake. I see you in your Hellcat, Jake. All right. Y'all clap for Jake, man, in this Hellcat. And this is 1 Kings 3:10. It says, in the speech pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing. And the Most High said unto them, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither has asked riches for thyself, nor has asked the life of thine enemies, but had asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. And it showed what Solomon's mind was at, man. It was about forwarding his people, not forwarding himself. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which was not asked, both riches and honor, so that thou shalt not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. Okay? So it was established that what? Solomon wanted wisdom so he can serve his people with his decision making. See, kings serve their people by decision making. Okay? It was a king's decision back then to either go into a war or not go into the war, but he had to consider the people. Okay? Yeah, he might can get great spoil if they win, but then he got to count the cost about a loss. How many men could they lose trying to gain the spoil? Was it worth risking that many people for that? Okay? And he had to weigh it out. It was a lot of decision making, that was required, of kings, man. You see, now let's go to the next chapter. So what did this mindset lead to for the nation? Okay. Yeah, Solomon was the richest ever, but he wasn't rich by himself. Okay, this First King 4:20 said Judah and Israel were many as the sand which is by the sea and multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. Good, man. This is what we want to come back to, man. Okay. This is what we finna come back to, man. It's gonna be time to enjoy the earth, man. Enjoy each other, man. Okay, in righteousness. And it says, I'm gonna jump down. Verse 24 said, for he had dominion over all the region on this side of the river from the Tipshah even to Azah, over all the kings on this side of the river, and he had peace on all sides round about him. And Judah and Israel dwelt safely. Now this is the point. Every man under his vine and under his fig tree, from Dan even to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. It said every man under his vine and under his fig tree, man. What did that mean? That every man had their own substance, man. Whatever it was, every man had their own substance. Everybody was good. Okay? There wasn't no, no middleman between the resources in Israel. No. Jake had their own substance, man, to support their families, man. Okay? The economy was crazy. We're gonna get more into it. Okay? Now you read it in the NLT, it said during the lifetime of Solomon, all of Judah and Israel lived in peace and safety. And from Dan, all right, in the north to Beersheba in the south, each family had its own home and garden. Okay, your garden goes into substance, man. You will have orchards. Okay, you have livestock. Our people was good. Okay, Jake had slaves of the heathens. Back then. You see, just how you see these Edomites were living back in during the plantation days, where pretty much a lot of these Edomites had slaves and substance and plantations. Well, we was living like that under Solomon. Okay, Jake was set up. You see, and it was on a much larger scale than what we seen here. Now let's get another one. Now, when you go to this is 1 Kings 10:23 says, so King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which the Most High had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present vessels of silver and vessels of gold and garments, armor, spices, horses, mules, rates year by year, tribute. Okay? Solomon was making decisions where the whole nation was on. Those tributes that was coming to Israel, they would come to Solomon first, but then they would distribute it. You see? Because he prayed for wisdom to serve his people. So the decision he was making had the economy booming. Okay? He was serving his nation through decision making, man, and that benefited. Okay, it says, and Solomon gathered together the chariots of horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the city for chariot, and with the king of Jerusalem. And the king made silver to be in Jerusalem as stones, and the cedar made to be as the sycamore tree that are in the vale for abundance. You see, for abundance. He said silver was as stones, man. It's nothing, man. So you gotta put this in In modern day terms, man. It says, this NLT says, the king made silver as plentiful in Jerusalem as stones, and valuable cedar timbers was as common as the sycamore fig tree that grew in the foothills of Judah. So it's pretty much, you know how Jake be, spitting, bars, you know, these metaphors and rap. This is how they're describing Solomon's wealth and the wealth of the nation. Now imagine, because he made things that were rare common. Now imagine if you every grade a blade of grass in your yard was $100 bill. You know, that's how Solomon had it for the nation. Every things that are rare were just in abundance. You see, imagine, every blade of grass in your yard was $100 bill. And then when you reap those hundreds, more hundreds grow up, man. That's how the economy was, man. Okay? Because even when you go into, let's go here. Because see, a lot of people, make it seem like Solomon, he was just heaping up women to himself just to do it, No, man. Yes, it was a pleasure to come with women, and he was choosing things that he liked. But overall, he was still serving the nation by making these alliances, with these women, with these households, through these marriages, man. Why you think all this substance was coming to Israel, man? Let's get that. Solomon wasn't just marrying, okay, just know anybody. He was joining houses, okay, with other kings and pharaohs, man. You see? Okay. It says, but Kings, this First Kings 11:1 said, but King Solomon loved many strange women together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. And what was he doing? Because you go to the Zidonians, Tyre and Zidon, there was a very rich port nation on the side of it was to the north of Israel, okay, right there on the Mediterranean coast. Extremely rich, okay, extremely rich, man. That's them Canaanites up there. All right, that's where you got Haram Abiff. Okay, Solomon was marrying these women, okay, but their fathers were great men in the earth. And what was he doing? He making trade deals. So the nation was winning, even off Solomon's decision who he was gonna marry, man. The nation benefited. See, you have to understand rulership to understand how this thing works, man. Okay? You have to understand rulership to see what was going on, man. Solomon wasn't just out here, no goddamn uh, uh, tender, had a tender mind frame, you know, swipe left and right and, you know, the check by how this shit worked, man. No, man. He was making power moves, man. Okay, and the women would solidify the deal back then between two great houses, man. A marriage when two kings would come up on the trade agreement, okay, or they would come up on some type of alliance. They would make a covenant with an alliance. What would they do, man? They were marry into each other's houses, man. They kind of solidified, that agreement, man. Okay, it, it's way deeper than the Hellcat, man. It's way deeper than the Hellcat. Okay, Now, it's First King 3:1. It says Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he had made an end of building his own house and the house of the Lord and the wall of Jerusalem round about. Now, let's go to this word affinity. All right, in Hebrew, it's hatan, like hatan. All right, you go to the prominent root. It says to give a daughter away in marriage, hence generally to contract affinity by marriage, to join in affinity to father-in-law, to make marriage, mother-in-law, son-in-law. Okay, so what was Solomon doing? He was joining himself to great households, and those trade agreements would benefit the whole nation, man. Okay, so that's why Solomon, was speaking to the disciples like that. He was molding them to be righteous leader, man. Because as Solomon, he was a righteous leader. Now he fell towards the end, you know. All right, he fell towards the end as far as going after the guys of those women. Okay, but his rulership was established on righteousness, man, and he served the people. Okay, now I'm gonna play another part in this video. Let me share it again. Um, Paid unresponsible. Come on, man. Slack it, brothers. Give me a little minute. There we go. The YAHAWASHI outside. So I'm gonna fast forward, to a part where it goes about, Sargon first coming into rulership and how he was moving, reminding me of, how YAHAWASHI, you know, um, is gonna do, when he comes back. Except he's gonna be in complete righteousness, man. You know. Come on, nigga. Yeah, let me exit this motherfucker. I might have to open up a whole new. Yeah, 1 second, man. God damn. Try to let that load up and see. this is going to happen, in the kingdom, like the brothers is putting up.
Ooh, baby, baby, but baby, baby.
Building arguably.
But yeah, I'm gonna let that video load up a little bit. But yeah, just like the brother put, we going back to that era, man. Solomon. All right. Solomon Infinity. Because you can't even say Solomon 2.0. It's gonna be Solomon Infinity on another level, man. This is Yashamai tribe of Judah. It said many nations shall come from far to the name, all right, of the Lord power, with gifts in their hands, even gifts to the King of heaven. Going to YAHAWASHI, all generations shall praise thee with great joy, and we coming back to that era, man. This the era, okay, that's coming back, man. The era of Solomon. All right, eternal. Let me see, Mike. All right, so let me start here. All right, so I'm gonna start it here, and it's gonna pretty much go into Sargon, overthrowing, the Sumerian, empire, and how he changed things up, man. And Yahawashi is coming to do it on a much, larger scale.
When European archaeologists first began excavating in Mesopotamia in the early 19th century, seeking to understand the origins of their own zone of the ancient history of that land, besides the biblical stories, its mud brick cities having died millennia before. One by one, as the years went by, the great mounds began to be investigated, the cities of the Bible unearthed. Foremost amongst these early discoveries was the Assyrian capital at Nineveh, made famous by the early Assyriologist Austin Henry Layard. Work went on for decades, brick by brick, uncovering a vast metropolis of the Iron Age, and great amounts of information on the Assyrian era of the first millennium BC. Yet, underneath that city lay far older foundations. In 1931, the latest in a long line of astonishing discoveries was made. For 1,500 years before the Assyrians, the place had originally been built by Akkadian workmen. It was in the Akkadian layers of the city that a number of artifacts were discovered. Chief amongst them a great bronze head, thought to be part of an impressive statue of an Akkadian king. Though defaced at some point in history, today the head is rightly considered one of the great masterpieces of ancient art, providing a rare glimpse into the art style of the Akkadian world. Generally thought to represent either Sargon or his grandson Naram Sin, in reality, almost nothing is known about the head, though it is reminiscent of similar heads from Gudea in the years following Akkadian rule. This was an age when realistic representations of humans are almost entirely unknown, making the head entirely unprecedented. This bronze artifact, precisely and expertly crafted, wasn't just a statement of the king's power, but a perpetual embodiment of his very being. More than a representation, for those who looked upon it, this statue would channel the very presence of the king himself, working as a substitute in his absence. The fact that the head was possibly still on display and defaced many centuries later during the sack of Nineveh in the 7th century BC suggests that his power lived on for more than 1,000 years after his death. Notably, the figure is very different from the usual depictions of Sumerian rulers, generally bald with smiling, benevolent features. This statue has elaborate hair. Whether it was a wig or a new Akkadian hairstyle is unclear, but it wasn't just fashion that changed under Sargon. What he attempted in Sumer was revolutionary. For over a millennium, the ruling establishment had long consisted of priesthood and nobility, working hand in hand to control nearly every aspect of Sumerian society, especially in the cities. Often with single hereditary families controlling all aspects of temple life in their respective strongholds. When Sargon arrived, however, he broke the power of the priesthood and the noble families, replacing them with hand-picked Akkadian governors, fiercely loyal to him and him alone. The Akkadians who now controlled these estates were able to keep the vast majority of the crops and revenue for themselves, a sizable share of the new empire's wealth. Such a system also helped to ensure their loyalty to the new regime, obliging them to serve it because it now gave them a huge stake in the state's success. They bought in to the new system. This transfer of such productive lands also greatly diminished, if not outright destroyed, the power and influence of the former religious and ruling establishment, because up until then, such property had been their main source of income. While in most cases the Akkadian government compensated the previous owners, the estates were still forcibly taken. If there was resistance to the offer, then it's safe to say there would have been serious consequences for those refusing to make the sale.
So as you can see, when Sargon took over, that old Sumerian, elite system. What did he do? He put his people on, man. He put them in those high positions. Okay? Just as YAHAWASHI is coming back to do, man. Okay? Because first, let's get this real quick. Let's go back to the scripts. And if a brother could put Sirach 10 and 4, and then put verse 8, and then put verse 13 through 17. So put Sirach 10 and 4, then put verse 8, and then put verses 13 through 17. All right. Well, let's go into it, man. How I spoke of these things, man. So pretty much Sargon, he overthrew that elite ruling class and he put his people on, man. All right. Thing how Shai is coming to do. Now, when you go into it, that's why what we're doing now is very vital, okay, in the times to come. Now, this is the book of Luke, chapter 19. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at Revelation first. Okay, this is Revelation 19. All right, this is Revelation 19 and 11. And it says, and I saw heaven open, okay, and behold a white horse, and that's YAHAWASHI coming into this realm on that chariot. And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. So YAHAWASHI is coming to make war in righteousness against a wicked empire, man. Okay, he's coming to establish war in righteousness. Okay, now when you go to Luke, and he's gonna set everything right, man. He gonna redo this whole system, man. The truth. All right, great reset, man. The great reset gonna be in righteousness, man. Not a Esau one of the more technological, version of this oppressive kingdom. Now, like people don't understand like what Esau even really plans on doing within his NWO. He's presenting like it's this new new thing that's gonna just enhance the human experience. Well, it's gonna be the complete opposite, man. Okay. Now this is Luke 19 and 12. It says, he said, therefore, a certain nobleman, which is YAHAWASHI, went into a far country, which is a spiritual realm, because he's back on the right hand, to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And we read in Daniel 7 and 13 and 14 how YAHAWASHI, after the resurrection, and after he broke bread with the apostles, he was brought up into a cloud and he was taken to what? Okay, that far country, which is a spiritual realm. Okay, and what did he receive? Dominion, the everlasting kingdom, and everything. So he went and received it. But see, now it's in time of his return where he gonna come wage war in righteousness. Okay, what the scriptures say, let it be on heaven as it is in earth. So the rank that he has in the spiritual realm, which he's over everything, excluding the Most High. Okay, that rank from the transfer to the earth when he returned. You see, that's why he's gonna be able to make all these executive moves when he gets back. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. And these pounds is a measure. Okay, because each brother has their measure or portion in the spirit. You see, and what are we doing? We're occupying, with our portion that we have until he come, until our king come back. All right. So verse 14, it says, but his citizens hated him, fellow Israelites, and sent a message after him saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. And don't you see that rebellion now? Okay, don't you see that rebellion against the throne now? ITR back on the scene just to say they don't, they don't deal with YAHAWASHI. Nigga disappeared for years, but pop back up just to say they don't deal with YAHAWASHI, man. That's them citizens, man. Okay. Now, I wanted to prove this point. Okay. It says, verse 16, then came the first saying, Lord, thy pound have gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in very little, hast thou authority over 10 cities. Okay? So just as Sargon was putting his men up over these states and cities and, these city states that was once ruled by those Sumerian, those elitists, okay? Yahweh Shai is going to do the same thing with us, man. Literal. He's going to put us over, certain realms and provinces, man, when he comes back. Okay? But it's about us holding down our portion now, what we got now. Being good stewards over the affairs of the king now. So when he come back and establish, all right, this righteous kingdom, because he's coming back to make war in righteousness. Okay? And whoever wins the war, okay, they can make the decision on how the earth is going to be forwarded, man. You see that? So what we're doing now, is putting ourselves in position, okay, to be exalted in the time of Yahweh Shai. That's why, the rank and status on this side, that don't matter, man. We want what's to come. We want to be in the favor of Yahweh Shai when he conquers the earth in righteousness, man. Okay? And you sisters want to be in favor to those men. Okay? Now, what did Yahweh Shai tell the disciples? This St. John 14:15 said, you are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. And we was commanded to what, man? Feed his sheep. You see? So you see how it all links up, man? This is the king telling his men, you are my friends. So when Yahweh Shai comes to conquer the earth in righteousness, what you think he gonna do to his friends, man? Okay? How you think he gonna reward his friends that did what he commanded, man? Okay? It says, henceforth I call you not servant, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. What I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you, man, because we're dwelling in the courts, okay, of royalty, man. So we are privy, okay, to the intentions of the king. You see that? So when he conquers, what you think he's gonna do, man, to those loyal men? It's gonna be exalted, man, in a way we can't even think of, man. Now, let's get this. I know brothers done posted. Yep. You already know, man. So let's get this. This is brother Beyond Yashala. Okay. It says Ecclesiastes 10:4 said the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over one that is profitable. And that's Yahweh Shai, man. Because right now this is a very unprofitable rulership. People are impoverished. People are anti-Messiah. People, live pretty much by a death culture. Okay, through is a backwards ass is through. Well, see now Yahweh Shai is going to come be profitable unto the earth, man. Beginning with what? The elect of Israel. Okay, everything. That's why the scriptures speak about the fir trees rejoicing. That's nature. Everything is going to rejoice when righteous rulership is established, man. All right. This is Sirach 10:8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, man. And it's going to be translated from Esau unto Jacob. Okay, under Yahweh Shai. Because this man has a very corrupt and wicked, okay, power structure, man. Okay. It's Sirach 10:13. It said, for pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And this is what we're witnessing in this society, man. Esau has got proud, thinking he's above judgment. And what does he do? He forwards sins. Okay, and now we see nothing but a culture of abomination, man. Okay, a culture of abomination, man. Trans children, okay, of sex trafficking. You see, just filth, man, and much more. It says, and therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly, man. And that's what's coming now. He did it before. He's finna do it again. It said, the Lord have cast down the thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. And this is what? The house of David. Okay? Those meek men that are fit for rulership. Okay? It's going to be in righteousness, man. All right, verse 15, the Lord had plucked up the roots of proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. Okay, the Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth, man. That's why America's going to be a desert. A lot of these EU nations and cities, they're going to be pummeled, man, in this third world war. Okay? If a brother could put Revelation 11, 14, and 15, you know, we'll probably end it there. Verse 17, he said, he took some of them away and destroyed them and have made them a memorial to cease from the earth, man. Because it's going to be a time where America and, you know, all the so-called achievements and this and that ain't going to be talked about, man. Okay? This whole rulership is going to be forgotten about, man. All right? Yep. This is a definition from the brother AB Tribe of Judah. It says the definition of steward. It says a household manager, one who manages a house not of his own, and that's what we're doing. You know, because the elect are YAHAWASHIs, and we're managing his house. You know, and when he comes, he's going to give us our own house, man. You see? Okay. Now let's get this, because this is what it's all leading to. Yashima tribe of Judah, it said the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, this third world's war. And big change happens after war. Great change happens after great war. Okay? This is why we keep up with these things, man. You know, a brother could put okay, yeah, that's it. Yep. The water, brother. This is on Revelation 11 and 15. It says, and the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdom of this world, all right, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord, YAHAWASHI, and of his anointed, okay? And he shall reign forever and ever. So you see how the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms, all right, of our Lord, YAHAWASHI, and of his anointed. Those faithful men. You see? And he's going to put us up in all these high positions in the earth, man. Okay? He's going to put his men in all these different high positions in the earth, man. All right? We're going to be an extension of YAHAWASHI is going to be an extension of Yahweh, and his men are going to be an extension of YAHAWASHI. Okay? And our families, our households going to be extensions of those men. Okay? Rulership. We're understanding how this thing works, man. Okay. So that was the point. You know, I pray that you brothers, you know, you few sisters were edified. You know, like I said, I love talking about this, man. You know, we're gonna ride in the spirit. You know, I love when the spirit give me these, you know, these topics. You know, I find, you know, spirit give me the documentaries kind of solidified. You know, I feel like it'd be good for the body, man. You know, but Lord will you, brothers and sisters, edified to the next time I say Shalom. Kwam Yashala, Abab, DTA soon. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Ka halal Allah Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. You know, Shalom.